No more misbehaving, then I'll see what you have got. No more stormy weather, no more, that's for sure. No more stormy weather, I won't see you anymore. Bring it down, bring it back forever. Bring it down on the ground. Safe and sound, bring it back to never. Bring it down on the ground. No more secret talking, no more nails on top. No more secret talking, I don't think you'll ever stop. No more misbehaving, no more miss me not. No more misbehaving, then we'll see what you are not. Bring it down, bring it back forever. Bring it down on the ground. Safe and sound, bring it back to never. Bring it down on the ground.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm experimenting with my lights. I don't know. It's too bright.
So you have lights. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
All right. Says I'm
There's a
experimenting.
little bit of an echo, though.
I
don't know what
think that's because I have us on Shannon 2 as well. So there, that should be gone now. Just in case. Because Cyclone Kid has been in a very I do what I want mode. So
Oh, God.
you might have to not in a super crabby way, just a little bit. So
Well, no, but they're just that way. Kids are just squirrely. It's like, yeah, you know what? I've been acting perfectly fine. But for some reason, they sense on Sundays that school is coming.
right.
And fun time is over. I feel the same way.
Yeah, it's that anxiety for the start of the week and having to go back to just go back to responsibility. And so rather than do that, it's now he's just on some stuff. So I just have my I'm already on my headset just in case.
You look good. The makeup looks good. You put on some makeup. I feel very underdressed.
Why?
Because I look naked right now, actually.
Oh, because it's all shoulders.
I have clothes.
Okay, there are clothes there. I had to redo my makeup. So when you and I were talking, I decided to do my version of a smoky eye.
Yeah, it looks good.
I didn't put anything under here.
Okay.
So all of the smoky eyeshadow ended up raccooning. So
You
I had,
can't really see it though. I wouldn't have noticed it.
but that's because what I was about to say is I had to start over. And so I I wiped it all off.
Ah,
So this is all green
we'll
and
start
just the eyes, just the eyes. But hello to everyone. Hello, Mr. John Sullivan. Welcome back to the chat. Good to see you again.
He lives in Minnesota now. I think
Oh,
that's
you're
why
back?
John was very, very sad that we weren't on because he does, you know, he's so sick of that long distance bill. Does anybody have a long distance bill anymore? Is that even a thing?
No.
Do you get you don't get charged for long? I mean, like you got to call another country or something, right?
I think everybody has. You have to have. That's why people have WhatsApp and use Facebook Messenger and those other things. Is because they don't want long distance calls, and you don't do that anymore. You just talk to your friends on Skype. So welcome back to the great state of Minnesota, Mr. Sullivan. So happy to see you here. We'll have to actually make it out to one of our live shows because Tiffany and I have some stuff coming up in person. And speaking of in person, Tiffany and I have two things we have to say thank you for if you joined us. So the first thing for everyone who joined us at the second Twin Cities Film Fest comedy shorts and stand-up comedy night that we had last Thursday. Thank you to everybody that joined us at that in person. That was a lovely, lovely night. Again, that's going to be fantastic.
It was really fun. And there was like movie stars.
Yes, because one of our filmmakers is Marissa Coughlin. And Marissa Coughlin, not only is she a filmmaker, she is also one of the actors from Super Troopers. So
yes.
Which was super fun because our friend and additional filmmaker, Rudy Povich, who was also performing with us, couldn't even do his stand-up set because he was so fanboying over Marissa Coughlin.
Yes.
So
and you know, it's funny because as soon as he said that, I was like, damn it, I knew her from somewhere, but I was assuming it was one of the other events. So yeah, I was stoked. Because I love that movie. Have you seen it?
I've seen it. Okay, yeah. I've seen that one. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great way to spend an afternoon.
Exactly. And
silliness.
Not only is that an amazingly silly, wonderful movie, but Marissa Coughlin is a really genuinely talented and wonderful human being. And so we're always, the film that we showed was it was a very sweet film that she's created called Fulfillment that you can see right now on the TCFF streams, the streaming platform at the Twin Cities Film Fest page. So you can go and check that out. And it's a wonderful short film about finding your voice. And it's just got all the feels in it. And so
it does.
It's
that's the one thing that I like about short films is because it is a medium and something you can explore where you don't necessarily have a lot of dialogue.
Right.
And it still works, right? You know, because there's very little dialogue, but you don't need it.
Right.
When you're watching it.
Yes. It's wonderful. And there's not a lot of the additional short film that we showcased on Thursday was Rudy Povich's award-winning short film called Raising a Daughter, which also does not have a ton of dialogue.
Right. Not till the end.
Visuals. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So there was a fun night, and we do technically have an additional one on the books already for November, but we're going to wait to drop the actual date until we get through the actual Twin Cities Film Fest itself, which is October 21st through the 30th. We're going to have a variety of in-person films, studio films, indie films, and also a lot of streaming content as well. So it's gonna be good.
I think it's gonna be awesome. Now, what year is this again for the Twin Cities Film Festival? Because I mean, I'm sure a lot of the people that are our friends that are in the chat, but there might be people that don't know.
Right.
In the last, what was it, like 7 years, 5 of the movie, or like 5 of those years, movies that have been screened at the Twin Cities Film Festival have gotten into the Oscars.
Right. And a number of them are the ones that end up winning. So we've showcased the Green Book and
Green Book, Nomadland.
Moonlight.
Sound of Metal.
Sound of Metal. So every year, and this year included, there are some wonderful, we're going to be having some preview parties starting the end of this week coming up, where you'll be able to see the trailers and the kind of films. And I got a little peek already. And Tiffany, since you're going to be helping us with the red carpet, I'm going to show you all this stuff very soon too. Yes. Our opening night film and our closing night film are amazing. And there's going to be lots of ways for you to participate. So you can come see us in person. Like I said, there's a variety variety of Minnesota-made films that are going to be here this year. So you can get the whole rundown. The tickets should be for sure available on October 1st if you go to twincitiesfilmfest.org, but we'll be promoting all of that information starting in the next couple of weeks. You'll see a lot of them in the live stream. So that'll be super, super fun. The other thing is that thanks to everybody who watched the virtual panel workshop that Tiffany and I were a part of yesterday, courtesy of Fearless Comedy Productions, we were part of a very, very fun panel on broadcasting virtually. So it was
live
fun.
streaming.
Yeah.
Basically what we do, you know.
So us and the very talented Dan Bublitz Jr., who's another comedian here in town, and the exceptionally talented improv performer and one of the founders of Huge Theater, Jill Bernard, were on it. And so it was fun. I felt very smart, very scholarly. Like, I'm like, look at us being all knowledgeable and stuff and knowing things.
I mean, because mostly we just think we're talking smack. Like, correct. Basically, like, and then they're like, oh, would you be on this panel and instruct us? Instruct you.
Well,
yes, I will. Hang on. Let me put on my mustache and consult.
We felt very fancy, but no, it was great, and we got some really good feedback on that as well. So thanks to everybody who was a part of all of those things.
Right.
So now, last week, because during our Labor Day episode, I don't believe we did a question of the week. So when I was going back through my notes, because it wasn't even a full week ago and my brain's already fried. But 2 weeks ago, that's when Tiffany was joining us from the Minnesota State Fair. And we had the question of if you can only have one thing at the Minnesota State Fair, what would it be? And the general consensus seemed to be State Fair cheese curds.
Yeah.
Because there's just something about them. Like, you're not going to make them yourself. Even if you get cheese curds at other places, it's not the same. So that seemed what most people said. The fact that we didn't get a single vote for like Pronto Pup or anything like that, I was surprised, because I thought somebody, just because that always seems to be one of the big debates, do you corn dog or do you Pronto Pup? I thought that
I've never been able to tell the difference. And, I don't know if that just makes me a bad Midwesterner, but I really don't care. They taste the same. People are like, well, one is cornmeal and one is corn. It's calories wrapped around sodium.
The only time I can tell the difference is because, one, the TV station I work for, we've had this side by side comparison enough times that now my palate can distinguish the two of them, but only if they're, and they do look different, because the Pronto Pup, because of the breading, comes out darker. And so you just kind of, if you see them right next to each other, then you're like, okay, corn dog.
Oh, okay.
That's the only reason that I could tell. Like, if you just handed me a thing, I wouldn't go, you call this a corn dog? It is a Pronto Pup. How dare you? So yeah, it's nothing like that, but yeah, I thought just nostalgic wise.
Right. I thought Sweet Martha's would have done better. I don't know if there's a fall off there. It did seem like there were more cookies on the ground this year than normal, but they might have just had extra cookies.
You know why I think there was more cookies on the ground is that because the attendance was lower.
They're piling it higher, maybe.
Yes, and so they're piling them. And normally you make a friend and you just pass them. So I think that, one, COVID made the numbers lower, but two, COVID makes you less likely to eat food from strangers. Because remember, we used to have a whole bit back in the day where we would have B Right, our good friend, go out, and he had a game called Can I Get a Bite of That? And he would just walk up to strangers and ask for bites of food. And more often than not, they would give him a bite,
Yeah, and he also was a great producer and also knew, like, he'd give him little winks and be like, oh yeah, she's looking at me. She's not going to get freaked out if this strange man just comes up and says, can I get this? Can I get a bite of this? Well, I have a mic and a mic flag in my hand and I have a cameraman following me.
It's still gross.
But most Midwesterners will comply if there is a mic flag and a camera and it's a state fair. Like, well, yes.
I guess I need
Jeannie, I was on Almanac last night. It was crazy.
So that is the question that we had last. So thanks to everybody that joined in that particular question of the week. We have a new one planned for the end of the show.
I'm excited for ours because of the story, just because of the story.
Because I prepared for it and then messed it up and forgot it upstairs. So we'll just have to talk about it.
No, I know it. I got it.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's talk about a couple of things. from this week. So the first one, like this story came in hot. Like we just got this story. And this was, Tiffany and I, we watched like so many people, we watched all of the memorial services last year for September 11th, as a lot of people did. And I think that it impacts everyone differently. If you are of a certain age, I definitely think that you're going, where was I? And it's one of those, I remember where I was on that day at that time type of moments. Wouldn't you say so, Tiffany?
Oh my God. Yeah. I remember exactly where I was. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was driving to work. I worked at TCF Bank in Excelsior, and I was listening to KQRS, and Tom Bernard announced that when the second plane hit, and I'd been listening to something else, and I just came in. Although interestingly enough, he was the first person that I heard say Osama bin Laden.
Right.
Because I didn't even know who Osama bin Laden was. I had a 3-year-old at the time. I was busy. I wasn't thinking on a geopolitical level. I'm like, what happened?
Well,
and my mother's from New York, and half my family's from New York, and several of my relatives were first responders on September 11th and the subsequent months, because my Uncle Brian was NYPD detective, and Billy was on the Bronx in the fire ladder, or the fire department.
Right.
I can't remember what his ladder number was, but
yeah. And I had, friends and loved ones that were there, and thank goodness did not lose anyone actually in it. And my story, I was on the radio on air at the time in Austin. That's when I was in Austin, Texas with our friend Tony Fly. And we were playing a game, the stupidest game. We had a game called Guess What's in Tony's Sack. And it was a mailbag game where we would go into it and read like this, and I would pull out, and it was in Tony's sack. It was a dumb game. And we would regularly go to traffic, as you do in the morning. You never got to play that game because we played it when we were in Texas. And when we moved back, we retired the game on September 11th because it was a dumb game anyway. And now it was poisoned because we play this stupid game. We go to traffic. Our traffic reporter didn't answer at first. We're like, hey, everything okay? And she goes, sorry, I was watching the news and the World Trade Center is on fire. And so we look up, because we had the news on all the time. We look up, and then we saw the second plane hit. So, and then it turned into, there was so much going on, and so much, do we know where we're at? What are we doing? There was a lot of uncertainty, and we were in Austin, Texas at the time. The Bush twins went to college there, so people were worried about this. My family was hearing that things were going on in Boston, and they heard maybe it was Austin, and there was just all kinds of, I think there was lots of miscommunication and lots of things that were going on at the time. So,
well, and I mean, I wasn't even in a broadcasting thing. I work at a bank at the time. Mm-hmm. They closed the Minneapolis and St. Paul headquarters for TCF that day. Mm-hmm. Because they were like, I think if you weren't old enough in that moment, it was literally anything could happen, and they didn't know where anything was. And the fact that they grounded all air traffic all at the same time, and we're like, no.
All right.
I mean, it was crazy. But then I also remember thinking, well, my employer doesn't think that much of me. If they're really concerned, they're not closing our branch, but
yeah, they sent all of it.
Talk about home equity loans real quick. Everybody's going to want to invest in the future today.
Exactly. That's what they have on their mind, and there's a couple of things that have happened throughout my on-air career where I was because, I've been on air, I've done behind the scenes jobs. There's a couple of things where I'm glad that I was able to be on air and have that opportunity. And I was really glad during that time in that community that I was able to be a resource. And that kind of lends into what you and I do loosely with this show. And the whole reason why we decided to do this is that this seems like another time, especially when I started doing this, when we were doing it on Instagram Live, where it was people needed a way to connect. Yeah. And we're like, well, why don't we start a community? And so we started doing this live stream just to go, hey, everybody, we're going to be on here. At the time, we were doing it on Fridays. And that was really it, where it's just like, we're going to talk about some stuff. You guys can weigh in. Everybody can join in and have a focal point and know that, we've gotten used to looking for John and looking for Peggy and looking for, Joe Tanner and a lot of these people that we shout out. whenever they're watching this. And that's why we go, hey, let us know if you're in the chat and what you have going on. So that's why as lighthearted as our things are, it's also really a way that we can go, how can we, help build community and give people another chance to kind of like weigh in. And so I was really glad that I was there and we could take calls, and we did a lot of things in our community, like food drives and charitable drives and all of these things. And there were scenarios where people were, for the fundraisers we did, where we just said, you can bring my money. People were taking the last change out of their car, because it was, there's a lot of people that had been still at that time were still dealing with the depressed economy that we had. And so the people were really just
making me tear up right now, because I remember feeling that way.
Right.
And it's like, what do we do? What do we do? How do we, no one was surprised that someone was pissed off at America. And
right.
No one was surprised about that. No, right. That to me was not, it was just like, damn.
Yeah.
And the coordination on a level that no one had seen before. And I remember just feeling so helpless.
Right. And
it would have been nice. It would have been nice. I wasn't in radio at that time. I wasn't a comedian. Oh my God. Right. I was not even, that was several years later, but it's experiences like that wanted me to have, like, if some stuff goes down, I want to have a mic.
And it did help to be able to, because I was the one that was doing my ourselves and our midday person, Mickey Gomez at the time. We were the ones, like everybody else, they took off the air because we were a music radio station. And so there was a couple of voices that were like, if somebody has to do news or tie-ins or emotional things, it was Mickey and I. And then they were like, honestly, you're like, Tony, love you, go home.
Yeah. And this is not time for yuck. This is not time for wacky sound effects or
Tony. And Tony is
no, great. And Tony's a professional. I'm not saying he would do something that would be,
and he wouldn't. No,
in bad taste. He never would. He would not.
It was basically,
but it's what you associate with that voice.
Right.
And the radio station has to say, this is something different than we normally have, because this is something different than has ever happened before.
And because of that particular, just the makeup of what we had at that station, because it was still very pop culture, the quote unquote voices of reason were me and Mickey Gomez. And so Mickey and I were sitting there and just going, well, at least on some minor level, we feel like, if we learn about it, you guys will know.
Yep.
And because everybody had so many questions. So at least to be able to go, here's what we've heard. Here's another place you can get information. And, how are we all going to figure out how to build this together? And so, that was one of those times where I'm glad that I had an opportunity to do something. So that brings us to the light side of things now. Now we're 20 years away. So our friend Jim Seuss, and Jim's probably not watching right now because there's an event in town here in the Twin Cities called Crypticon. It's a horror con that a lot of our friends are at. So shout out to Jim and Taylor and Meredith and Paul, who normally.
Oh my God, the pictures have been so funny.
Right. So congratulations to everybody there.
Taylor Cisco, he takes the best pictures with people. The great cosplayer.
Wonderful.
But the one with the silence, the woman who went as Silence of the Lambs, Buffalo Bill, was amazing.
Yes. So we
very creative.
If you guys are ever like on Facebook and you're not friends with our friend Taylor Cisco, who also is the singer-songwriter who performs our closing song that we play every week.
Yep.
Hey, you okay up there? He sounds like he's laughing, but I sound like.
Is it maniacal? Is it ha-ha? Or is it ha-ha?
It's maniacal. Oh, hi, Jim. You are here. So Jim, Jimmy
the Saint.
Story in the chat. Jim, I should just send you a link and let you tell the story next time. And let you do it. But I figured
I like the answer. I am here.
Yeah.
that is a declarative. There's no punctuation. I am here.
Jim, I was going to make you go live and send you the link, but I didn't want to bother you while you're at Crypticon. So Jim sent in this story. And so in the part of Indiana that Jim's from, they have an event called Popcorn Fest. It sounds like. And
which
so
sounds innocent and fun.
Right. And so at Popcorn Fest, what they have.
What happens at Popcorn Fest.
Right. So they have a number of floats and a parade as part of Popcorn Fest. And so what's making the rounds right now is, as this particular Reddit poster said, the tasteless float of the year goes to, there it is. And so that is,
Wait a minute.
it's the Republican Party of Valparaiso.
I haven't seen the picture yet. You told me about it. I know you sent me the link, but I was logging on. No.
So that's what it is. And so the
It's the
petition,
Twin Towers.
yeah. And so when you look at it again, I have the picture
Smoldering.
that it's smoldering Twin Towers. And it has the,
On
never
September
forget
11th.
those type of things. I get that. So there's another angle of it. That's the one that that's making the rounds.
So the Republicans said, what was a great day? September 11th.
I think, well, even if you see it, you see the never forget. So I think
that never forget. I mean, no. I mean, yeah, but
here's the conversation that I would have liked to have been part of. So if they're going, we want to memorialize this event.
Then use the names, use the pictures of the people that had a connection to your area.
Why would you build towers with holes and smoke coming out of them? That's where I think it gets tacky. And the execution of what the memorializing this event, that's what I'm just like, you know what, your committee, you need to disband and start afresh. And there's a kid hanging out there like it's just a normal
Wait, go back to the picture. Let me see that. Let me see one more time.
Because that's what I'm saying, is that there's so many ways that this could have gone down that wouldn't have been so.
Well, yeah, I mean, lots of people were not celebrating, but a lot of people were honoring, memorializing 9/11, as we do every year, but specifically because it's the 20th anniversary. But
the branches around it and the kid that's like waving and like throwing out candy like it's a normal parade, it's just the execution of it. Even though you see the
only way this would be worse is if they had like little GI Joes parachuting out of the building at the same time. I
agree.
That's the part we want to remember: the people that lost their lives,
right?
Not the building.
Correct.
The buildings are just that. They're buildings.
Right.
They were built by people, for people, and 3,000 people died that day.
Right. And so this isn't the best
way. And more died. More and more than that died because of all of the medical complications for all the first responders. I mean, 10,000 people really died that day. But.
So you just look at it like, okay, you tried, but no.
But where was the red team here? Where was the red team? Do you know what I'm saying? Did you ever watch The Newsroom on it's HBO, so probably not. Alan Sorkin, anyway, talking about like when you're breaking a news story on network news, like there's a red team and your job is to basically argue every point of the story and make sure that it's absolutely correct. There was no red team on this one. There was no one who just I hope there was one person that raised their hand and was like,
maybe
I was thinking more about like a quilt
with
the names, and we could all contribute to it, or never forget in flowers that have been locally grown by
all those things. Right.
Not bad paper mache of one of the most horrific days of America.
And the fact that they made them like out of aluminum, like silo, I don't even know. Yeah, I'm just not on board for it. So, all right. So, okay.
So next year,
Indiana,
we'll volunteer. We'll go to Indiana. We'll volunteer.
Look, the Valpo, that's that. First of all, Jim, if you're still here, you let us know if there needs to be a letter writing campaign to
let's write letters.
Because I feel like the GOP likes letters. I don't know.
They do too. I think they like they like it. You know what? But you know what they don't like about it? The handwriting.
Oh, you want to do that story next? Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so handwriting. Okay, so here's the story. So one of the things that's going around on Twitter right now is that somebody put up this a picture of a note that they saw at a retailer where they were going to. And it's funny enough.
It's a bookstore.
Right. That was closed. And so somebody put up a funny note about being on break.
Yeah, they were taking a break. It was an antique bookstore.
Right.
And, hey, it's COVID. I can't get other employees. I'm the only one working at the old antique bookstore. So sometimes I have social engagements during the day.
Well, okay, so I'm going to read the note because I can read the note. So the note was funny, and it said, had to run to a luncheon, but I'll be back around 3. Fingers crossed that the food is good. God knows the company won't be. So it's a cute poem.
Right. It says, and it's titled Darling, and it's signed Steve.
Right. So it's supposed to be funny, and people were like, the poster, the person who posted it, not the poster.
Right. Yes.
The person who posted it, trying to be funny, and they were like, oh, and then the person who put it up on Twitter was like, oh, look at this clever note that I saw. Super funny. And then what ended up in the comments is that people were unable to read that note.
They couldn't read the handwriting.
Right. And so
that is not hard to read.
But that's what came back to is it that they couldn't read it because the handwriting wasn't clear, or because we no longer teach people to read cursive writing?
Right.
So that's the debate that we're getting into. Is it's turned into a generational debate on why not.
Now, if we're going to really, and that's what's upsetting, because the thing I really want to argue about in this letter is the fact that they're putting the comma before the word but instead of after it. And then they run a bookstore. Now, that's the part that was actually upsetting to me. They're misusing the comma, but I catch that on a lot of people's stuff, that people don't like commas anymore either. Commas in cursive.
I also think that this is relatively good handwriting.
Yeah, it's clear. He's using a weird bougie F, like he's from Germany. So this might, the F is the F for what is it? Fingers crossed. The F right after the number 3. That's like a European way to spell it out.
I have really bad handwriting for multiple reasons. Like, I have to really think about it to be able to have legible handwriting. So I was like, this looks pretty good to me. So like, I don't know if you remember, because this happened like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
So 2 years ago.
But I think I think you also were suffering from too much melatonin.
Too much melatonin. And here's what happened. So 2 years ago, I handwrite out.
It was really funny. It was really, okay, sorry.
So I handwrite out.
It was funny though.
I handwrite out my grocery list. And so what I started the grocery list, and then I took some melatonin and went to bed and woke up in the middle of the night and had added something to my grocery list. And when I woke up in the morning, I could not read my own handwriting to decide what it was that I told myself to get. This is what it ended up looking like. It was my moment.
And you called me.
And I had
you took a picture of it first and sent it to me, and you're like, well, what does this say? And I said, I have no flipping idea.
So
I have no clue what that says. And I'm like, that's funny. We should put it on Facebook. Maybe other people on Facebook will know what you wrote.
Right. So here
we see whatever damp rod is, which is what it looks like the bottom line. What was that?
What that is. That's an I. So that's damp rid. Is what that is.
Rid.
So this one right here. So
what's damp rid? What's
damp rid? Is a thing that you put in the basement that absorbs water.
Oh, okay. All right.
Almond milk, okay. Magnesium. I knew the magnesium. Smooth move tea. I figured that out. Benadryl. But then
I see that.
This is the one.
And I prosperity. Did you want to get prosperity at the store? Plus for free.
Yeah. So people were going, here's what I can read.
And then how many comments? 188 comments on that post.
Trying to help.
I know.
And I did eventually figure it out.
Yeah. And what was it? Which is hilarious. Tell them the words and then see how we're gonna know that from that.
Well, I didn't figure it out until I went to the store and actually just walked into the aisle. And when you walk into a place and then everything comes back to you, I actually laughed out loud myself in the store aisle when I figured out, that's what it was. And so what it was is I was writing pirate's booty right there. I was hungry. It's when I had first started my diet journey that I'm on. I was trying to not eat in the middle of the night. So sleepy Shannon woke up, wished that she had a lovely cheese puff snack at 2 a.m. wrote pirate's booty on the list.
Now
And
go
then-
back now that everybody knows the joke. Go back to it. Because
Okay.
this is what melatonin does to
Tell us.
Shannon's handwriting.
Oh,
I don't
it's
blame you.
worse than
I blame
already
the
wrote.
natural supplements that
Here.
affected your handwriting. So
Wrong. I keep going
Oh,
back
well.
to
no, we'll
I
get
got
there.
it.
I can wax on and on
No, you
about
don't.
the dangers of melatonin. You get hooked. And then you're up in the middle of the night wanting pirates
There it
booty.
is.
There it is.
Now you can see there's a PIRATEBOO and a so
I
I'm
see-
like when I
see a P, I see an L, I see an O, I see a P, I see an S, I see an E, I see a space. I see
you
a
don't see
B,
pirate booty.
I see a half U and a Y. That's what I see.
It doesn't.
Clopus burry is what I
We
see.
had somebody say porpoise boy, and they're like, why would you dispose body? Somebody said call the police. Like so there are lots of options, but nobody was gonna guess pirate's booty because who would have? I'm like,
I remember you called me after that too.
Maria's like,
you're like pirate's
Why?
booty, and I was like, "Are we cosplaying?"
so you still
Again?
don't
Yes,
see it,
yes,
Maria?
pirate's booty, and you're like, "No, that's what I wrote."
See, now that I've said it, Maria, you still don't see it. Like when you have somebody like go on one of those charts and go, no, now that I've circled the word, can you see it? Because now once I knew what it was, I'm like, oh, PIRATE. I see the pirate. The booty is still pretty
The
lax.
booty, it looks like you wrote busy.
Busy or boy, or I wrote a lot of
or berry.
what is
Anyway, so like
No.
basically the fact is I can read handwriting quite well from where we started at the beginning of the conversation, and people know that when you can't even read your own handwriting.
Oh no,
That's amazing. I do that all the time though. I have notebooks full of brilliant ideas I had on wine, and I wake up and it's like peanuts crossed.
That's why I started.
What does that mean?
I started leaving myself voicemails, and because my handwriting when I'm sleeping.
No, I can't do that. I can't document the alcoholism. I mean, I can't hear.
I'm killing you, Maria. I'm so sorry. You're killing me, Smalls.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're goddamn killing me, Smalls.
That's why I had to laugh at myself. Like I legitimately, I'm sure I looked like a lunatic because I walk into my local Hy-Vee. I hit the aisle where the snacks are, and it all comes rushing back to me. And I backed up and I went,
we need a song. We need a song for this. Who wants to, in the chat, write an original score that we can play on the Black Unicorn, the White Witch called Pirate Booty?
Pirate's Booty.
Or Plereber Robbie, or whatever you think it says. You know what? You interpret the words and you use it, whatever. You write a song about whatever that was. And we will play it. If you write it, we will play it. As long as it's an original soundtrack and we won't get a copyright infringement.
I have to type everything. I cannot. Yeah, you're right.
But you're not telling them you're left-handed. That's part of it. Hey, what's up, buddy?
You want to get a shirt or no?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have to go.
Okay.
There's water dripping down from my ceiling.
Oh my God. No. Okay. All right. I'll think about it. Okay. Yeah. Bye.
We'll check in after I figure out if the water is ready. Okay. Bye.
Turn off the water. Okay. I'll call the cops real quick.
Okay.